Alright guys, welcome to another one of these videos where I take a look at a sort of classic magazine back in the day and I just read it and talk nonsense. So this is the first Amstrad dedicated magazine I'm going to look at. This is Amtix. Now this was released by, I think it was Newsfield. Was it called Newsfield International? I can't remember exactly. Basically it was the same group that brought out Crash for the Spectrum and Zap 64 for the Commodore 64. Yeah, both of these magazines were very much sort of like, they were like sort of homemade magazines, but written by people who were extremely passionate about the hobby rather than by the suits, you know, who were just in it to make money. So if this is anywhere even half as good as Zap or Crash, then it's going to turn out to be a good magazine. So yeah, this is what one? This is issue number 7, and it was from May 1986. Trying to see. I'm assuming that picture is from Of Heroes and Monsters. I don't know, or Infocom interviewed. I don't know. They're looking at Fairlight, and you could also win some prizes. They were also looking at Shadowfire, Mooncresta, Nick Faldo's Golf, Tomahawk, and Frankie Goes to Hollywood. So let's take a look inside, guys, and see what it's all about. Right, okay, kicking things off, what have we got? A big double spread from Durrell Software. Combat Links. I remember getting that for the C64, and I think I played it once and I gave up. I just I mean, it is a flight simulator, but I mean, yeah, what you can see there, it's not a very good screenshot. It was a flight simulator, albeit quite basic, but me and flight simulators just never really got on at all. Critical Mass, you know what, I never actually knew that was out for the Commodore 64. You can sort of see that's the, I'm assuming that's the, or that'll be the Commodore 64 one there, I think, the coloured graphics. I'm sure in the Spectrum it was all monochrome, but I always think of Critical Mass as being a Spectrum game, as is Saboteur. Again, I don't think I ever actually played that on the C64, but my mate used to play it all the time. Turbo Spree, again, I think I saw it and I wasn't overly keen on it, but I believe it's one of these games. It's actually quite, some people, you know, compare it to like Grand Theft Auto. You know, it's very, you know, quite a good sort of engine, you know, pun intended, with traffic lights and that kind of stuff. But again, I never really played any of these games very much. Now, Amstrad owners can thrill to arcade classics from Elite, Bomb Jack, Commando, 2 cracking games. I wasn't a big fan of Bomb Jack, I must admit, but loved Commando. There you go. I think that's most definitely the arcade one, and I think that's probably the arcade one over there as well. That was always a bit cheeky that they did that. And moving on, take a trip into the pleasure zone. Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Aye, that was rated really high in Zap. I think, did it get a gold medal? It certainly got, I'm sure it got into the high 90s anyway. But it was a game, I played it briefly and I'm like, nah, it wasn't really my cup of tea. I wasn't a Frankie Goes to Hollywood fan, I must admit. Though looking at, you know, listening to it now, obviously you've got the nostalgia sort of part of things. But so when was this year? This was May 1986. Let's see if we can recognise any names. Publishing executive Roger Keane. Yep, he's still, well, he does a lot of the collaboration books with Chris Wilkins. Him and Ollie Frey. Frankie Frey, Oliver Frey, yep. Graham Kidd, I'm sure he was on Zap. God, I don't remember. I don't know any other names at all, but we'll not bother looking at the contents, we'll just look at them as and when we come to them. What is this here? Panzerdrome, a program of senseless destruction for your Amstrad CPC 464. The Ram Jam Corporation presents Panzerdrome. I don't even remember that game, never heard of it. Was it just out for the Amstrad? Possibly. Hundreds of ways to get killed, over 200 enemy tanks. Never even heard of that one. The only person I knew actually that had an Amstrad was my mate Mark, but he wasn't into computers for very long. You know, I think once he discovered girls, he very quickly lost interest in his Amstrad. Always need to, I still keep in touch with Mark. I still see him on occasion we go out to the pub. I'll need to ask him whatever befell of his Amstrad. He had the coloured screen one as well. Amtix post-mortem on Manchester show. Many thousands of people attended the first two-day Amstrad computer show at Manchester, and many of them must have gone away disappointed that so few software companies bothered to attend. That's pretty sad. A few did make the effort, and for that a pat in the back go to Design Microgen Incentive. Yeah, that would be a bit naff. Right, Ace Combat. I remember the names again. Again, they were both flight simulators, so I really had no interest in them. Mirrorsoft, oh dear, we'll not talk about that. On the spot, Andy's invented a game. Dear Spot, before I start, I would just like to say how brilliant your magazine is, and I have got every single issue. I hope you will publish my picture. I bet you're wondering why it's called Andy In For Fitness. Well, it's an idea for a game. Listen, I can't be arsed reading that. The only thing I like about looking at the magazine, the letters pages, is to see if I can recognise anybody. Simon Clegg, no, don't know that name at all. On the spot, what's this? Dear Amtix, I'm about to stick up for you, so you had better appreciate it. It concerns a letter sent to you by Shafwak Razul. I think that you're biased towards Amsoft. Blah, you know what? Whatever. I can't be arsed reading that either. That's Year Kung Fu, I think. Yes, it is. Last Christmas I bought a copy of that great game Year Kung Fu, which I think is one of the best games for the Amstrad for ages. But reading the Amtips section in issue 5 of Amtix, I found out that my game has one opponent missing. Fan, so I wondered whether I could do anything about it. And, well, sell the Amstrad and get another computer, mate. I mean, what else do you expect? Yeah. You're not bored looking at any more letters. May the Enigma Force be with you. I remember that. What was the name of the Beyond? That's it. Yep, Shadowfire. That had really good music. It was another one of these games. It was kind of like, it was like icons, and for that reason, I just thought, is that it? Well, I've got to say, I like this whole thing going on here with the blue paint. Yes, moving on swiftly. Nomad by Ocean Software. This is a really neat shoot 'em up. Nomad manages to be both playable and addictive and generally excellent. My only disappointment was the sound, which could have been improved upon by quite a lot. But with that said, the game is extremely good, managing to be pitched at just the right difficulty level, making playing it a joy to play. What did it get there? 92%. Never actually played that game before. That looks nice. I like the use of colour there. That's really nice. Fairlight, that was a game that the C64, although it did come out for the C64, it was just a bit rubbish. It was way too slow. Yeah, when Nightlore came out, the floodgates for these type of games just opened. I mean, you had, what was it called? Well, you had this. Obviously, every other subsequent Ultimate game is the same thing. What was in it? Sweevo's World. Yeah, it was a strange game. It had the cover, the advert for Sweevo's World had Stan Laurel out of Laurel and Hardy. I never quite understood what the basis of that was. What's it saying here? Overall 96%. Fairlight was one of the best games in 1985 for the Spectrum. Now it has finally appeared in Amstrad in a much improved form. Will it achieve the same critical success? Or critical acclaim, I should say. After a couple of hours playing Fairlight, I can safely say that it is one of the best arcade adventures to grace Amstrad. In fact, words fail to describe its excellence. The only valid grumble is that it tends to slow down when there are quite a few things on screen. Well, again, that's what happened, guys. 2012 AD. Design, don't remember that one. There are players and there are survivors, a comic game. Meltdown, Alligator Software, don't remember that one. Rambo. Presentation 82%, graphics 68, sound blah, blah, blah. Overall, with its good and bad points, it still turns out disappointing on the whole. Yeah, I was never a fan of Rambo. I always thought it looked rubbish. Compared to Commando, it just looked pants, though I've got to say the music in it was excellent. But yeah, wasn't a massive fan. Panzerdrome. That name rings a bell. Areola Soft. Yeah, Areola Soft, they were one of the early American companies that used to bring software across in the UK, and then eventually, obviously, US Gold got their feet under the table, and they basically sold virtually everything that came from the States. Battle of the Chess. It's funny how in the early days of computers, chess games were massive. You know, and you used to what do you call it? You used to read about how the new version that's just come out in the Commodore 64, how it beat. You know, they actually used to have tournaments. You know, two different chess games competing against one another, and you always thought this was great that the one that you had actually won. But does anybody play chess on the computer anymore? I love chess as well. My dad taught me how to play it, but it's not a game that I've played for years. There's just nobody to play with, basically. But like video games. Deathwake. This looks like some kind of strategy game. Yeah. Again, I'm not familiar with that one. The Worm in Paradise. So it was out for the BBC Commodore 64. I should maybe do an 8-bit face-off kerfuffle. Or is it one of these? Oh, it's an adventure. Nah, I'll not be looking at that one at all. Not a fan of adventures. Get Dexter now. I do remember this is one of the most fondly remembered games on the Amstrad. I mean, you know, it's just what I was talking about earlier on. It's got this really nice graphics, 94%, a brilliant arcade adventure which poses wicked problems and allows full interaction with just about anything on screen. Yeah, look at the detail. It's really impressive looking. Okay, I don't know if did this come out for why does it say Craft on? That's interesting. Have they put the PSS in the area? I don't know. Craft on. No idea what that means. If anyone knows why that says Craft on, even though it's Get Dexter, I wonder if they've put the wrong picture, possibly. The French Connection. Here we go. Get Dexter. Doomsday Blues. What's this? Forbidden Planet. So there's a lot of games that came out for the Amstrad that I wasn't really aware of. Like there's Thing in a Spring. Now obviously that was a massive game on the C64. It was the first game that it just opened people's eyes. It opened people's ears as to just what an amazing sound chip the C64 had. The actual game itself I wasn't a big fan of. I found it far too difficult. Gremlin Graphics have done wonders with the old Commodore favourite and come out with one of their best games to date. All the graphics are very well drawn and the colour is superb, with only a few problems arising with the magnificent scrolling. One of the best things about Thing in a Spring is undoubtedly the music, which makes good use of the underexploited Amstrad. Ah, okay, so it's potentially got a good music as well. Monopoly. That was another game that seemed to come out for computers and nobody wanted to play Monopoly on a computer. The CDS Mega Chess Competition. The life of a competition minion, as I may have said before, is not mixed. Not interested in that. What's this? The music system really is good. John Bates casts a tuneful eye, see, that should be a tuneful ear, over one of the best music utilities for the Amstrad. Yeah, these were all, in the early days of machines, you got things like this, music makers and that, and then after a few years they realised, look, nobody's interested, let's just stick out another variant of another game. And that's what tended to happen. Laser Genius, I remember that. Now what does it actually say here? Yeah, produces tokenized source files which occupy blah 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 blah. Laser Genius is a definitive system for machine code programming as part of the Ocean Innovation and Quality range. Yeah, look at the price of it. I mean, the Spectrum was 15 quid. The Amstrad was £15 as well. It was a lot of money back then. People moan about the price of software now, but compared to what we paid back then, which I didn't think was too much, but... Right, a recent feature on cassette related problems prompted reader Jim Ollerhead to write in and offer us advice which he has gained from his work as an audio TV VCR engineer for a number of years. Bless old Jim Ollerhead. He's always explaining. This is how we used to have to load games. See, even the word load a game doesn't even compute with kids nowadays. You just start a game. But yeah, back then we had to put this plastic thing into this other plastic thing, press a button and wait about 20 minutes. Though I've got to say, when it's one of these things when you hear all these people and these celebs on TV programmes going on about, you know, the 8-bit era and all that, they talk about waiting for half an hour for a tape to load. Well, it wasn't that bad. Yeah, maybe the very early days, especially if it was a Commodore 64 or an Atari, it would literally take 20 minutes. But once turbo loaders came out, you're talking maybe 3-4 minutes. It's not that bad. Probably less than it takes an average PlayStation 3 game to load, actually. Yeah, again, and we're only, what, 40 pages into the magazine, and already we're getting, oh wait a minute, this is another letters page, and we're getting into black and white and sort of non-gamey type stuff. Unless the games are further on, they must be. We've not looked at any yet. This month Gary Liddon casts an eye over some of the technical letters received during the month and answers the various queries, complaints and puzzles. Now, Gary Liddon's a good mate. I mean, I see Gary from time to time. He does come to our computer club. I wasn't aware that Gary actually wrote for Amtix. There you go, because he started in Zap, and then eventually he started working for Thalamus Software, and I wasn't aware that he was still working there. So there you go. I need to ask him next time I see him. Yeah, Tomahawk, yeah, and that's another flight sim. You can see there, I mean, we've looked at, I think there's been about 4, this is about the 4th or 5th flight simulator. They were massively popular, they just weren't something that I was really into. Digital Integration, yeah, they did all the flight sims. I mean, Tomahawk, Fighter Pilot, Night Gunner. Speed King is actually quite a good, it's like pole position, but with motorbikes, it's actually pretty damn good. Protex Ultimate Amstrad word processor. Yeah, you just, you know, you wouldn't even look at something. Now it's just like, it's Excel or it's Word. You don't even think about word processing. It's just, we're so used to, you know, word processors being a thing nowadays. It's just part of life now, you know. But Maxim Assembler, yeah, it's all very dry stuff. Subscribe to Amtix for a year's worth of games, info and fun, including in-depth reviews of word processors and whatnot. Bookworm Advanced Amstrad CPC Computing. Right, what's this? The really jolly Name the Arcade game. Have you seen the Mooncrester preview? Looks jolly decent and exciting, doesn't it? Well, you can't win a copy in this competition, but there are 50 wonderful bumper Mooncrester packages. Mooncrester was actually a game that was, well, it was converted by, oh, what was the name of the company? It wasn't Inventive, I can't remember what they were called again, but it was actually a really good conversion. Really difficult, but really good. Right, Robin Candy, that's a blast of the past. Right, my old mate and Zap reviewer colleague Gaza Penn, of almost appearing in Saturday Superstore fame, came up to me and asked if I would like an in-depth report on how to play Bruce Lee. That's a game I loved, absolutely loved. It's an iconic game and I still do love the game, but I don't play it that often now. I find it quite boring actually, but back in the 80s it was wonderful. Zoids, oh dear, that was a game again. I'm like, oh nah, it looked nice, but yeah, it wasn't a game that I played. This is what people did. People used to take their time and draw all these wonderful maps and send them into magazines. The 4th official Amstrad computer show. Well, hopefully it's not as bad as the last one you mentioned. The next show is doubled in size, and that means twice as much to see, twice as much to try, and twice as much to buy. allegedly, as long as people actually turn up, and it lasts for 3 days too. Sorry, 3 days instead of 2. The Champagne Suite, an exhibition centre in Novotel in Hammersmith. How much was it? Adult ticket £2. Right, 3 weeks in paradise. After last month's colourful mapping tips, here is the rest of the solution for you to goggle over. If that was written now, it would be Google over. Elite Firebird. Kurt, Deadly Farmer of Southampton, has found these tips for Firebird's excellent elite. Take it away, Kurt. I keep meaning to go back and play Elite again. Play it in the Commodore 64 or even in the BBC, now that I own a BBC, but I've just never got round to it. Right, what's next? Adventure. I used to always just gloss right over. The Beer Hunter. This is the first commercially released adventure to have been designed with Incentive. Incentive! That's who did Mooncrester. A highly acclaimed graphical adventure creator. Yeah, these... I was never a fan of these. I just used to skip right past them. Night Games. Again, I was aware of that, but I never actually played it. I think it was just a kind of basic sort of fighting type game, but I think it reviewed fairly well. Quest Probe, featuring the Human Torch and the Thing. Looks like somebody's knocked his teeth out. All American Adventures. Yeah, at least they were they did have graphics, but ultimately it was still the same game. You still had to just type in what you wanted to do. Right, Amtix. What's that? Arcana, whatever that might be. More maps and whatnot. Rebel Planet, I remember that advert. I always remember thinking that these were quite impressive looking screenshots. I wonder what system these were on. Who knows? Be the envy of your friends, buy a Rolls Royce. No, seriously, there's no such need for such extremities. There, is that an Amstrad t-shirt? I think it is. Have you actually seen a review of any games? Not many, I don't think. A couple possibly. Have you got time to travel to see Doctor Who? No thank you. Right, Green Beret. A classic Bob Wakelin picture. What's this? West Bank Baddies. Let's see if we know anybody. Stephen Swain. Nope. Yes, Haley, Gary Denton, nope. You know what, I never ever wrote into a magazine. I never ever entered a competition. I always just thought that you would never win, so why go in for it? We've got so many ideas, we just need the programmers. That's quite hard to read actually. What is this? The development of war games is rather a mystery to most people. I started off by asking Gary Mays how the PSS programmers went about designing such a beast. That's Theatre Europe. I was actually watching a video about somebody was reviewing that very game. It's actually very, very... what is this? Is that Theatre Europe? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, it is. That is Theatre Europe. I'm not sure about this one. Battle of Britain possibly, since it says it there. But Theatre Europe is quite a dark game. Right, Amtix Top 20. Year Kung Fu, Elite, Wave Exploding Fist, Sorcery Plus. That's a good game. I keep meaning to play that on my GX 4000. Bruce Lee, Who Dares Wins. Blah, blah. I always thought that I think the games that were number one in Amstrad were possibly number one 6 months ago on other systems. The Amstrad was always that wee bit behind with a lot of games. Yeah, what's this? Take to the track in style. 2 chances to win £1,000 worth of karting and karting gear, courtesy of Rainbird. Would you really want to win a go-kart? Possibly not. Where would you keep it? It's like in Bullseye, they used to give away speedboats to people who lived in, you know, the 4th floor of a multi-storey flat. There's Atari ST Incarnation of the Pawn. That was a lovely looking game. Alien Highway Encounter 2. I remember my mate playing that in his Spectrum. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be out for the Amstrad, and Spectrum doesn't seem to have been out for the C64. Back numbers, your chance to fill that gap in your life. How much are they wanting for each one? Each back number is available at £1 each, plus 20p postage and packaging. And you could get the binder as well for a paltry sum of £4.50. So that's the waiting game. Fast food chains, of course, have been using them for ages. It was a natural progression. First the bland mechanically prepared food, then the bland mechanical service. The efficient but characterless droids which serve up your food are quite revolutionary. It's funny that, you know, back then they would have looked at, you know, 2018, we'd be going to the moon, we'd be driving, you know, floating cars and whatnot, and we'd all have robots. That we'd all be working 2-day weeks and robots would be doing the rest of the stuff, but it's just not happened. I don't think there's many robots can climb stairs even now. What's this? Very few games get reviewed in magazines or journals outside the specialist computer press, like Amtix, blah 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 blah. Yeah, it seems to be heavily influenced with adventures. I've got to say, considering this as the sort of Amstrad's version of Crash and Zap 64, it's quite a dry read when you compare it to, you know, Crash and Zap. This does feature, you know, sort of utilities like your well, I had adverts for utilities, but I don't think Crash or Zap ever did. There you go, icons of Shadowfire, that's what I was talking about. It's an iconic, well, it is an iconic game. Yeah, it's all using a joystick, and it's got amazing music, but I just got really bored with it. I thought, where does the action happen? It was almost like an icon-driven adventure. You know, you didn't really get to see anything happen. There we go, Incentive. Yep, Mooncrester, one of the most difficult shoot-em-ups ever. Even now. What's this? 3D military mayhem. Unlike digital integration's last simulation, Tomahawk puts you at the controls of a high-tech helicopter. I remember playing, what was it? Super Huey. That was released by, what were they called? They did Forbidden Forest. The name escapes me, but yeah, it was Paul Norman did Super Huey, and it felt like you were actually in a helicopter. It was quite amazing. Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Yeah, again, I never really got that. Playing on an open sandwich, the prize money for winning international golf championships is now colossal. Argus Press Software are about to release a program that might help you brush up your stroke playing time for this year's British Open. Nick Faldo plays it open. That was actually not bad. And then shortly after that, Leaderboard came along, completely revolutionised how we play golf games, and to this day the power bar is still used in virtually every game, golf game you could think of. What's this? Won a £120 10-gear milk race special racing bike. It's funny how, you know, Rally were the big company. Now, you know, the bikes that they put out are very cheap. You know, when you compare what's out there now, it's all, you know, I can't even remember the name of it, Giant and Boardman bikes. Intrepid Amtix team pack their bags, fill up their boots of their cars and drive up to Manchester to inspect the goings on at the 3rd Amstrad user show. Was that not the one that only a couple of people turned up? I think it possibly was. There's a couple of dudes from the Amstrad Northwest User Club. Strange Loop, I remember that. Virgin, yeah, that was actually quite a good looking game. Pacific by 3RE, don't remember that one at all. Nice colourful graphics. What's this? Microgen made the maximum use of our magazine's visitors. Took part in a National Computer Games Championship. Blah 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 blah. Split within Electronic Pencil. There has been a split within the Electronic Pencil company. The independent programming team, while working on Zoids for Martech, Rupert Bowater and Paul Norris have announced the formation of a new programming team to be called Binary Vision. I think I've heard of them. Sam Fox Strip Poker. I'll leave that one there. Yes, there's Tony Crowther. There it is. Tony Crowther has signed an exclusive contract with Alligator Software to return to them as a full-time games programmer. Director Mike Mahoney said he was confident Tony would produce some excellent releases in the near future. Amtix Club Newser. Oh dearie me, that was one of the worst games ever. Yep, Mexico 1986. They basically took, it was to obviously coincide with the World Cup that was on that year, and they basically took a 3-year-old game that was written by Arctic Software, which was a terrible football game, and they basically used the same game engine, and they put like a t-shirt and other bits of shite, stickers, and they sold it for stupid money. Yeah, avoid at all costs. I'm sure you probably get quite a lot of money if you had the full pack with the t-shirt. Way of the Tiger, that was another good game. I think I preferred the Spectrum one actually. The Terminal Man, again, that was, I think that was, what's his face, Oliver Frey, but I was never into comics. I mean, look at it, wonderful looking, really, really pretty looking. I'm surprised this was never sold as a standalone comic. Possibly it was, I don't know, because I just glossed over it. I've never really been a film or a cartoon fan at all. And Super Bowl, again, I absolutely loved watching. I used to get up stupid early and watch the Mega Bowl, watch the Super Bowl at my mate's house. We'd pile across to his house and we'd stay up till about 4 o'clock in the morning and watch it. But it's not really, in fact, even where I stay now, well, I've always lived in the same place, but they actually had their own American football team back in the 80s, but now American football is just not really, it took off initially, but it's never ever going to compete with like football or rugby. So that is it, the last page. What's this contraption? It's also very wacky contraption by Audiogenic. That looks like that mouse game. I can't remember what it's called actually. So anyway guys, that is Amtix from May 1986. A bit of a classic magazine, though it does appear a bit drier in content than say Zap and Crash magazine was, but I guess if you're an Amstrad owner you would have probably loved it to bits. So anyway guys, if there's a magazine you want to see me do one of these features on, just put your comments below and I'll see what I can do. And as always guys, thank you very much for watching.